Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation, it reads like this. I still remember the very first day that I stepped onto their farm. I was just a young girl, around 18 at that time. My family, they were struggling to make ends meet, even though I had passed my O-level exams, but they told me that there was no money for me to continue with my education. We were living in a rural village in Zim, and my parents thought that the only way I could help was by sending me to work as a maid. I did not have much of a choice. Life was really hard. I knew that I had to do whatever that I could so as to support my family. That is when I started working for this family. So there were people that were wealthy, and I had heard that they wanted someone who could work at their farm as a maid, even though they were based in Harare. They would come sometimes over the weekend or a month end to their farm. So they wanted someone who would work as a maid. So my auntie was working at a nearby farm, and she had spoken with her boss about my situation, and that is when I got this job. These people, they had a lot of cattle, and I had heard about them when we were growing up. There were some of the few people that had benefited from the land reform program. So I was excited knowing that these people had a lot of money. So most of the days I would be alone with the gardener as well as the other farm workers, but I was not living in the main room. We had these other workers' quarters where we were staying. So I would spend most of my time cleaning, cooking, and whenever they would be at the farm, that is when I would have a lot of work. So they had their own son, whom I had heard about. The son was in Canada furthering his education. So I only heard the mom talking about him. When he returned back, that was when I met him. He was older than me. He was past his 20s, and he seemed to be more interested in running the farm and making money more than in anything else. Occasionally, I would see him from a distance, as he would be supervising the workers, speaking to his parents. He was handsome and very quiet, but he never paid no attention to me. Not at all. He never paid attention. So it all began one day when he asked me if I was free enough to go with him to Harare. So I agreed. Whilst he was driving, that was when I saw that he kept on looking at me. And at the end, that was when he told me that I was really a polite girl. One thing that bothered me was he questioned me and he asked me if I had ever slept with a man before. So I really felt weird, like he was invading my privacy. So I told him that I had never slept with a man before, and that got him really excited. And he said, wow, you are really decent, a decent girl like you, with all of your beauty. You should get a good husband. When we returned back from the city, I think that he told his parents about me still being a virgin. I was invited for dinner. I was feeling out of place because they had told me that whenever they are eating, you should go back to the place where we were living. So we kept on talking and talking. Then when it was late in the evening, the parents went to bed, and he said that he wanted to accompany me. So from the main house to the staff quarters, it was almost about 50 meters. So it was really late at night. He accompanied me, and he grabbed me and he kissed me. It happened so quickly, and I did not stop him. I did not know how to stop him. From that night on, things escalated fast. Within months, he asked me to marry him. I was shocked, confused, excited, and scared. How could this man, the son of the family that I worked for, want to marry me? Just a poor girl. I did not understand, but I thought that maybe it was love, and I was just lucky. We had a small wedding. His parents, it was like they were not even excited about the marriage, but they did not stand in the way. My own family was overwhelmed, especially when the bride price was paid. It was a lot, the benefits of getting married to a wealthy family. The bride price that was paid, it was a huge sum of money, so much that my parents, they got so excited. As for our honeymoon, we went to Mauritius, a trip that the parents had planned for us to celebrate our new life together. The island was beautiful, the water was so nice, but even as we arrived, something felt off. He changed, he was distant again, he started avoiding me, and I expected him to sleep with me. On our second night, he suggested that we go for a walk on the beach. I agreed, thinking that it was going to be a romantic gesture. We walked for what felt like hours until we reached a secluded spot. He stopped suddenly, turned to me and said, "I need you to trust me." Well, that was when he told me that he wanted to break my virginity right there. I did not want that. I said, "But we have our hotel room. What if someone else sees us?" He said that the spot where we were, no one could see us. We were hiding behind a tree. So that is how I lost my virginity. He slept with me in broad daylight. As soon as he had finished sleeping with me, there was blood that was coming out. He then rushed and he started washing his manhood. And then he said, "Let us return back to the room." He was walking in front of me and he did not even care because I was in pain. And then when we were in the hotel room later on, that was when he took out a small bag and he started playing with this small bag that had some charms on my private parts. I asked him and he said that it was a charm that he had been given by his father. This will protect our relationship, because his father said that this woman, even though she might be a virgin, but now that you are going to make her to become your wife, you need to do a central locking system. I did not understand it, but with time I started to understand that these people, they were just ritualists. But I could not get the proof that my husband and his family, they are all occultists. Years went by. We had our daughter, our only child, whom I will call Tariro. She is the light of my life, the only thing that brings me real joy. As for my husband, he also loves her, even though he told me that one child is enough, no need for us to keep on trying. But there was always something strange about the way that he looked at our daughter, as if he saw a wife in our daughter. So it was just me telling myself that maybe it is just my imagination. Then last month, that was when everything, my world fell apart. So she came to me one night and she was crying and she was shaking and trembling. That was when she said, "Mama, I have something to tell you." I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I sat with her down. That was when she told me that her father, a few weeks earlier, had taken her to a graveyard, because at the place where they have their farm, there used to be a village. So in that village, there is a place where they used to bury their loved ones. The village is no longer there anymore. So that is where my husband took our daughter. She said that he took her to that graveyard and then he made her to lie on top of the grave. And then my husband then removed her underwear. And after he had removed the underwear, she said that he placed a small bag that contained some charms on her private parts. And it was as if she was caught up in a trance. She said that from the grave, she saw a snake that had bright colors that came out of the grave. And then this snake started vomiting money. This is what my daughter told me that my husband was doing. And they had a bag, an empty bag that my husband was said to have collected from the car. And as this snake was vomiting money, my husband was filling the bag with money. And then they returned back. She finished telling me the story, and I could not even know how to respond to her. I just cried. And she said, "So what are we going to do about it?" As for now, I don't even know if I am supposed to confront my husband or not. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. She was saying the disadvantages of getting married to a man that is more wealthier than you are. strange things indeed they do happen in this world.